This episode is sponsored by Legends Apparel. We are excited to have Legends as our apparel partner for 2022. Legends just dropped their Relay Performance short this summer. Now, with water repellent technology, you can confidently add water training into your routine without switching up your gear or having to sacrifice on comfort. I've been using Legends gear for close to 2 years now. I am an absolute huge fan of their stuff. I'm wearing a pair of their shorts right now. In fact, you have a hard time finding me walking around in the gym, at home, without Legends gear on. Not only is it comfortable, but it looks great, high on fashion, high on performance as well. Check out their latest colorways, including the Animal Instincts collection at legends.com, and follow them on Instagram for new apparel and collaborations. Welcome to the Power Monkey Podcast, where we chat with the best in the world about what they do. I'm your host, Dave Durante, with my co-host this week being Mike Service, and our guest for the week is Swiss superstar athlete Adrian Mundwiler. Adrian is a four-time CrossFit Games individual competitor, as well as finishing once in the top 10. He also comes from a very high-level hockey background growing up in Switzerland and transitioned to CrossFit just a number of years ago. Talk a little bit about his upcoming year, how he likes to compete a number of times in person, how he prefers in-person competition over the online variations that we've been seeing, especially since COVID. Talking a little bit about what it means to compete, how he does it as much for the fans and for the community as he does for himself, what his expectations are now that he has moved to Mallorca to be able to train more regularly with other athletes at his level or other athletes that are also very competitive, and what this next season is going to look like in terms of expectations. Talk a little bit about sponsorships too, how that's become a big part of the sport as an athlete at that level, and also what he intends to do once his competitive career is over. Love speaking with Adrian. We're hoping to get him out to a Power Monkey camp at some time in the near future. He's a great guy, great athlete, and we hope you guys enjoy this one. Adrian, what's up, man? Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with me and Mike today. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. It's a pleasure.
We're
Finally
just
on the
hearing that you
podcast.
you just got off a flight. You made it into the hotel. Where are you at right now? Where are you calling in from?
I flew to Milano. I'm doing like my last off-season competition for this year. It's called Fall Series. I think it's the biggest one in Italy. Finishing up, and then yeah, I'm excited for being done for this year. It was busy.
Nice. So, how many times are you competing throughout the year? It seems like competition is a big part of your training cycle. It's not just the training, not just training for the big time events, the Wadapaloozas, the Granite Games, the games, and things like that. It seems like you compete quite a bit. Is that part of a strategy that you have?
Yeah, well, things changed a little bit. In the beginning, like when I started CrossFit 16, 17, even 18, I needed to compete to make money because like back then sponsorships weren't great. Maybe I did like in total like K of sponsorships a month, but that was not enough for living, right? Especially not in Europe, not in Switzerland where I live.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that back then it was more like I had like it was a different mindset. They were like, okay, I have to go to this competition, I have to win it and make this 3, 4K because otherwise I don't know how to pay my food or my bills for the next months. That was a bit a different drive. Now it changed a bit. Like this year, I competed a lot. I counted yesterday. I did 11 competitions this year, um, since literally the semifinals. Out of a reason, like I come from like literally like 1.5 year injury. Like first COVID happened, and then in 2021 I got injured before the games or before semifinals at the quarterfinals actually. So I dropped out of the games there because it was not possible, and then literally the whole year I was injured and I could not. I think last year I did one competition and that's it. So one of the reasons was like I want to get back into competing again because this is why I enjoy it. Like it's a drive, it's a motivation. And then yeah, like on the other hand as well, like I always say, I'm a professional athlete. It's my job to make money like this. Like yes, I have sponsorship; they pay me as some part, but also for these sponsorships, they're interested that I go outside, I represent the brand, and I believe there's yeah, Instagram is a part of it, but at the end, there's no better representation than showing off to people, showing off to competitions, especially like you have to see it from a point of view that in Europe we have so many countries, so many competitions where it's like there are not many people they can afford to fly to the games and watch the games. So like a lot of people, even athletes competing against me, they're like, it's for them such a adventure, or yeah, a nice thing that they have the possibility to compete against the games athlete, or even like I said, some normal like Spanish spectators can watch a games athlete, or like, and for them, I heard a lot, especially this year, the feedback, how many people enjoyed it, or even young people. Last week I was competing in Sweden, and so many young people came up to me. It's like, hey, I follow you since years. So cool to be actually in the same heat than you, and you're my role model. And for me, like I said, it's not just the big competitions, also this stuff. Like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
makes
that's
me.
interesting. It seems like, the not just competing though, but competing specifically in person. I've heard you mention before that you don't like online competition, you don't like the open because of the way that it's structured. You prefer to be in person. And so is that a driving factor too, to actually almost be performing where, you know, you are in front of a crowd, you enjoy that response you
Yeah.
get, the person next to you in the lane that you're competing against. Is that a driving factor as well? Not so much competing, but that performance factor where you're doing in front of a crowd?
Yeah, 100%. Like I said, I think at the end, it's like, I think Michael Jordan said that, right? He said, I want to give every time I play, I want to give people a show, right? Because these people spend money to come here and watch me, right? And it's similar for me when I go to a competition. Like I said, even if I'm like last week, and another good example, before the final event, I had a pretty good lead. And I think if I would have finished 10th or something, I would have still won. But I was like, no, I was like, I want to show these people and I want to put them a show. And I won the workout, and we had a really good race with one other competitor, So this is one factor. And then yeah, like of course it's a good practice, like because we have always different events in every CrossFit competitions. Like also now I don't train the events. So if they announce the events a week or even 2 weeks before, I don't do them because I say it's training. I want to go there with a strategy and try it out how it plays out, because that's exactly what you have at the games, right? And a lot of people struggle with that, and like also struggle with, okay, I have a plan A in my brain, but on the floor it might play out like, let's say, so many times you look at a workout and it's like, yeah, that's easy, I just go unbroken, and then you're like halfway and you're like, oh shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then you need to adjust, right? Because if you don't are able to adjust and be like, okay, that's fine, you break down, right? And you see a lot of people on a competition floor, especially like I said at the games or on competition, who doesn't announce the events before, that happen to athletes, right? So it's also really good mental training, but it's exhausting. I'm dead now. Like since a few weeks, I'm just holding up my body and I'm just trying to stay alive, and training hasn't been great. So, like I said, like, yeah, it's rough. It's actually like, it's when I made the plan beginning of the year, with when I wrote out all the competitions I want to do. And like I said, I know also from the past years competing, I know so many competition owners, and I was like, a pleasure to come back here, because most of the competitions I won before or participated in the previous years. So it was really nice to come back and see the people again and support these competitions. But like I said, I was like, it looks easy on paper, and then
Yeah.
when I actually did it, so September I did in 5 weeks 4 competitions.
Oh my God. Wow.
And I was hammered. Like I was, after the fourth one, I was just like, okay, this is it. I need, like, just mental. My body was actually not too bad. Uh, but mental wise, it's just like I said, it's the pressure to push every workout, and mostly like disgusting workouts, and it's just like, I miss training. So yeah, it was interesting, but I'm thinking now, like I said, and the funny thing was, every time doing a competition, I was like, okay, this is my last one, I'm not going to do one more. And then Monday, Tuesday after the competition, I'm like, yeah, uh, let's go. Let's do one more. So yeah, no, it's good.
Yeah, Adrian, I like the perspective that you offered. I don't know that we get that too many times when we talk to athletes, going to competitions, not just to put on a show, but almost like an act of service, like to see a community that would normally not get to see you. Like you said, in Europe, a lot of times those spectators and more everyday CrossFitters, they're not going to go to the games in the US or Whatapalusa
Exactly.
or some of the bigger competitions. So that's a really admirable quality to say, like, yeah, of course I want to go compete for the training aspect that you're taking out of it, and yeah, the need to also make some extra money, but at the same time seeing the overall value that you being at a competition puts back into the community. Like that's I think that's something that younger competitors could also learn a lot from, like to hear that perspective of, without the community there's no sport. So
No,
that's a
100%.
valuable
And
perspective.
I totally agree. And actually, a story about that last weekend when I was competing in Sweden. Like, yeah, it was in the briefing of the event. The event organizer actually told me that this year's they don't have any name shields because they use this money to spend from in the community there in Sweden, from a family who was doing CrossFit. The daughter got really sick. I actually forgot the name of the sickness, but like literally, like they don't know if she might can live for 1 or 2 more weeks or maybe for 5 more years. But
Mm.
and it took me so by heart just to hear that a competition does that and they stay so behind. So after the first event, it is just stuck in my head. I went to the competition owner and I told him, hey, look, whatever money I make from this weekend, I'm gonna send it to the girl. I don't want any money from this competition because, like I said, it took me by heart. And sometimes making a present is much nicer to get a present. So yeah, I won the competition and I spent my whole money on her. And yeah, I think it was the nicest or the best feeling I ever had since a long time.
That's really nice to hear. I think those are the types of stories that don't come out often enough when they are happening, because those are also, some of the things that inspire other athletes to do similar good things when the opportunity arises.
Yeah, actually, the guy then told me then actually because I did that and they said that actually on the floor that more athletes from other divisions also decided to spend their money. And like I said, that's for me like mission accomplished. It's not that I spent my money; it's more like that, like more and more people got into this. And like I said, this is like you said, there is no sport without without a community, and I think our sport is so strong because we have a really strong community, because this community can read to the athletes as well. And yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, I think all of us within the Power Monkey community feel that same way in terms of what the sport has done in terms of building relationships and bringing people into our lives that have made significant impact and taken us on a path that we never intended for it to happen. And it's great to see you doing such amazing work within the competitive. You are a professional athlete. You're trying to make a living for yourself and you're trying to win. You're trying to be the best you can, but at the same time, you're actually making an impact on the people that are around you as well, which is, like Mike said, it's admirable. So, I mean, it's great to hear. I'd love to be able to get some information on the athlete, the little girl that you're talking about, and the owner, and maybe we can put it in the show notes and help show some love to them as well. So maybe you can pass that along to Jordan when the podcast's over.
Yes, that would be cool. That would be really cool.
Speaking of community and training and things like that, one of the things that you seem to enjoy is actually training by yourself and not so much with other people. You have a gym where it looks like it's idyllic, like it's up in the beautiful mountains up in Switzerland. You have this incredible spot. You're able to go, cross country skiing and do these beautiful outdoor activities, and it looks paradise. Maybe not in the middle of the winter, but I'm curious from a training perspective. Do you enjoy training by yourself, like putting that mental stress on yourself versus, we've had a lot of athletes on recently that are training within, super teams, going to Florida to train with Brood or with Training Think Tank or with Proven or whoever they might be, to work with athletes who kind of push them on a daily basis. You seem to be an athlete that's kind of more in the group that wants to train by themselves. Is this the case?
Yeah, I think it's special. So when I started CrossFit back in 16, I was lucky enough that I was able to do training camps with like top athletes back then, like Sarah, BK, Samantha, and all the top athletes when I was fresh into CrossFit. And that was always a really big motivation to push and be able to see where I am. Like of course in the beginning I got my ass twitched, especially back in 2015, like I said, when I just literally started CrossFit. Uh, but it was such a great experience, and it's so funny. We still talk about, we had like, so we were not a training group, but we had training camps, and it was so special because we had like, let's say 10 days in Iceland, for example, weightlifting camp, uh, and then it came like 10 athletes from all different programs, but we came there and we did all the same stuff, and then we went again and left out, and that was really cool. Like special. Like I said, we still talk about with. I saw Mia last week in Sweden, Mia Ekelund, and she was on the camps, and we talk about that, or Carmen Bossman, and we had crazy times, and it was so special. And it's actually sad right now because you don't see it that much anymore, because it's literally everyone is following just their program. Or, well, you guys still kind of do something like that, right? Power Monkey is really like you come together, you do your stuff, and then you leave again,
Yep.
right? So
Yep.
it's a bit a similar approach, what I really enjoy, and I would love to do that. But yeah, it seems now everyone is like, I do my program, and if this is not my program, I don't do it. Then yeah, I decided to train a lot, but actually I moved to Mallorca now, and I'm there since a year. Since that was one of the reasons I needed people in the gym. I
Mm.
still like to train alone, but it's so hard with the time going into an empty gym and start training.
Mm.
Like that was actually the hardest. Not the pushing myself. I can push myself. Like let's say I do 10 times 500 rowing intervals. I push myself because I know the pace I want to hold. That doesn't matter if I have a guy next to me or not, but I know, okay, I want to hold this and this pace, and I go for it. But like I said, it's more like the starting. And now I'm training in a gym in Mallorca. It's called C23 CrossFit, and there's always people like Spain. I don't know. In Switzerland we work
Is
from
that
eight.
John's gym, Adrian? Is that
It's
where
not
John's
John's
at?
gym.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're there as well. Yeah, it's not
Okay. Yeah,
his.
you got a
It's all.
great crew there.
Yeah. And like I said, it's a great crew. And but even like the normal members are crazy. Like I haven't seen a gym with such a high level. Like literally like 60-70% of the gym can do muscle ups and handstand walks. It's amazing for me. And they're so passionate about training. And like I said, it's just like you come in the gym and you see people train, and that makes me want to train as well. I
Mhm.
don't even need elite athletes. So yeah, I really enjoy that. I always enjoy to train with girls because it's a bit different, like similar to Matt and Tia or whatever. It's a
Mhm.
bit different. Like you still want to beat and you still get a push, but if a girl beats you, it's not like your mental side is a little bit less stressful. You don't think like, oh shit, this is my competitor. He beat me in this workout and my shit or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
I totally see that as well. It's a bit more chilled with girls training than with guys. But I trained in the past a lot with Yonne and stuff like this. And it always matters how you train. So for example, with Yonne, we did a lot of you go, I go stuff instead of like going against each other.
Mm.
Or yeah, more I enjoy that stuff. But I think you can also run yourself into the ground if you train too much with your competition. That's
Mm.
my belief.
Yeah. I love the idea of what you were talking about, these training camps where, you have your training group and then you meet up, once a year, twice a year, whatever it might be. And you hold a 7-day, a 10-day, whatever it was. And you really go after it. You see each other's strengths, see each other's weaknesses, you work out, you push each other to a limit, and then you're able to back off and reset and regroup and
Yeah.
recover. It was something that we used to do a lot too. We had our national training camps. We would do them about once a month, maybe once every 2 months, and we would bring the whole national team together at the Olympic Training Center, and we would have some of the best training. Like some of those training sessions were like legendary. Like we still
Yeah,
talk about
exactly.
them now. Like 20 years later, we're still talking about. Do you remember that one training camp that we had October in 2008? And we remember those moments because it pushed us to a point that we didn't think we were capable of. Mike, did you guys ever have
But
weightlifting camps like that? Sorry, Adrian, you seem like you wanted to
no,
mention
no.
something.
But then also, like you said, this is not sustainable, right? Like
You're
this is
right.
epic because you have it for a time of name, but
Yeah.
it's not possible to do this intensity or this camps for a year because you would run each other to the totally ground, right?
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah. As soon as they were over, we would go home and have to rest for like 2 weeks. We would be like, yeah, we can't move
yeah,
for 2 weeks. But we got
exactly.
to a point that made us a better athlete because of those times together. So I
100%.
love those camps.
Yeah,
And
Adrian,
created memories.
Yeah.
when you were talking about that, and Dave, you were asking that reminded me of the same. It was a mixture for the U.S. for weightlifting. Like all the national team members now train either on their own or in small groups and just come together before like world competitions to have training camps similar to how USA Gymnastics would do it. I felt really fortunate. Most of my career, I trained by myself and enjoyed that a lot. And then towards the end of my career, I got invited out to the Olympic Training Center. But I would do similar to you, Adrian. I would go out for maybe 2, 3, 4 weeks at a time, and it would be like a huge lift, more mentally than anything, just to be around other people with similar goals, some better, some the same level as me. And then I would come back home and just be like charged again to train on my own. What happened oftentimes was the lifters that would stay, for a full year or 2 years or 3 years, they would have these crazy injuries because they would be in this constant just pounding, like, I have to prove myself because everybody's here, everybody's watching me. So I think when you can find that balance, which it seems like you have now, and then being at C23 just with a good community that's inspiring in general, but you don't have to feel like you're in this direct competition with everybody.
Yeah.
That's
But that,
I like that.
yeah, but that's also why, like I said, the competition is a really good training ground, because every competition I sit down for like 15 minutes and I see like, okay, which movement or what went well, or like, oh, there was one competition we did power cleans. I'm really good in power cleans, but then we had like heavy double unders with it, and those power cleans felt crazy heavy. So it's like,
Yeah.
so I write it down and then like, okay, I put it on my notes. The problem is because I have done now so many competitions, I didn't have time to actually work on this. So I'm actually really excited now to do this my last competition. Then I take 1 week off from that, just clear my mind. We go to London, have some Christmas feeling there, and then I'm really excited to go back in the gym and actually start hitting my list and get better in the stuff I actually wrote down since this year June. So yeah, I'm really excited to get back into training. But like I said, for me now, this competition is a bit similar than, like I said, training camps. They're not really happening anymore that much. So what I do, it's like, well, let's go for competition, and you can take it similar as a training camp.
Adrian, are you programming for yourself? It seems like you do a lot of this on your own. Do you have anyone that's overseeing your training, or are you doing it primarily on your own?
No, I actually did it always from the beginning on myself, like from since 2016. I think it's a big, like when we started in 2016, like I started before, and then actually I worked with John with the program. We started it actually together, where it was like my programming and he was talking to the people, and then we split up. And then I just kept doing it for myself. It's just like I really enjoy to, well, maybe a bit of a side story. I was a professional ice hockey player before. And when I was in my juniors doing summer training, we had like 4 months of summer training. I went, when I was 16, I went to my ice hockey coach. I was like, look, I want to take off this summer and I want to train by myself. And he was like, what are you talking? I was like, look, I believe that every athlete is different and I have my strengths and weakness I need to work on to be a better ice hockey player. Because back then, the problem was they gave all 20 players the same strength program, the same whatever, and then everyone did the same. But like I said, one guy had to get faster, one guy had to get more muscular. It was so different. And then he was like, okay, we can do that. But if you're not ready, when the winter starts, I kick you out of the team. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So my first year I did that, and then we had the first ice practice, and he was blown away. He was like, "Holy moly!" Like everyone did one step forward, but you literally did like 2, 3 steps forward. What did you do? And I was like, really simple. Like I didn't even have much knowledge back then about training, but I knew what I have to work on, right? And what my game is. Like I was a really fast, powerful forward. And then the next year I did it again, and it put me like 2 steps forward compared to everyone else. And that's where I had this thought about it when I started into CrossFit. There was never a thought of me that I want to just join a programming. Of course, I got a lot of ideas and like still up to date. Like I think probably Froning still writes the best workouts out there. Like I'm not saying I'm a great programmer in writing workouts, but I'm great in looking at people or looking at myself, looking into movements and figure out, okay, what's the problem? How do I get better in this movement? And stuff like that. And that's really something in my journey I really enjoy, like thinking about stuff. Just like, okay, if I do this muscle up, what's the problem? Is it actually the kip? Is it the pull? Is it my muscle endurance? Is it actually the strength? Is it the dip? Which muscle is actually the problem? Is it my shoulder? Is it my tricep? What is it, And then work from there and see. And I did a lot of failure as well over the years. Like where probably if I would have had a coach, it would have some stuff would have ended better. Like in 18, for example, I put way too much effort in conditioning. Then I went to the games. I won the bike event easily, but my strength numbers were not up there, you know? So I did a lot of mistakes and I learned from them and try not to do them again. But I think, like I said, that's a part of the journey for me. And yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fascinating. How old were you when you made the decision to tell your hockey coach, I'm just going to program for myself?
It was 16.
16. So at 16 years old, you recognized that what you were getting from the team was not going to be sufficient. That's a pretty high level understanding at such a young age. That's impressive. I mean, I don't know if most athletes would ever figure that out. You know, you'd probably just find the plan, find the coach, and just stick with it. Do you find that to be something that is kind of just in you, this idea of saying, I know what's best for me? And, you know, maybe there's a coach out there that might be able to impart something from a technical side or a specific workout, but you've always known that what you needed was always just inside of you.
Yeah, I think I'm a person. I exactly know what I want, and then I make it mostly happen. Like when I was 14, I was playing, like I said, at home in my home club. And when I was 14, I realized this is not going to bring me to the top. So I went to my parents and told them I saw this sports school, what is like 4 hours away from home. And I went one day to my parents and said, like, hey, can you sign me up for this school? I want to leave. And they were like, what? And they were like, yeah, I want to leave home. I go to this sports school and this has to happen now because the school starts in 2 months. And they were like, what's going on? And 2 months later, I was in this school, and this was exactly what I wanted, you know. And
Wow.
like I always, like I said, I always, if I put something in my head, it's getting done at some point or somehow it's getting done. And yeah, I always have been like this. So
That's
it's
awesome.
probably
Now
just
the
mentality.
hockey stuff, I mean, you seem to have competed at such a high level. Is there a reason why you didn't continue to pursue hockey, or did CrossFit feel like it was the better fit for you as an athlete and for long term?
No, the problem was I had so in my last year of juniors, I was already playing with professionals, and then they were all like, it's always a big step from juniors to seniors, right? And then we were looking for contracts and stuff like this. But then the problem was in my first playoff game in my last year of the juniors, I had a great season. I think I was like overall top scorer of goals in the league and all the stuff. But then I ripped my ACL in my left knee, and then literally it got really hard with finding contracts. I signed in the second highest league in Switzerland. Then there was a coach who really wanted me and he really liked me, and he was like, hey, look, you come here, play a year, and then put you in the first line, and then you can go back in the highest league. Or that was the goal or the push. But first of all, then my injury took longer recovery than I thought, and I lost more than I thought. Where it was actually, like I said, I was a really powerful player and really fast player, and I lost a lot of my speed. And then also politics into team sports. A new coach actually came in because we were not really successful at the start of the season. They changed the coach, and the new coach just didn't like me, and didn't got along at all. And I 2 months later, I took my stuff and left. And
Hmm.
through the injury, through those problems with the coach, and like accepting or understanding the politics in professional sports, in team sports especially, it took me pretty harsh on mentally. And then I discovered CrossFit, and I was like, hey, because my goal always was when I was young, I was like, always I wanted to be an athlete. Like I want to be a professional athlete. It always sounded a dream to do whatever you love for your job, right? And I never connected with someone else, with something else, what could be my dream job, right? So that was always in school when they asked me, always I was like, yeah, I'm going to be an athlete. I'm going to be an athlete one day. And the school teacher, no, you need a proper job. It's like, no, I'm going to be an athlete. So it was pretty fun. But yeah, and then I changed CrossFit, and then I was really quick, successful. And like I said, what I also really enjoyed is that I was my own boss. I could make my own schedule. If I put in the work, I get the results. Like in a team with 20 players, I can have a really bad night, but we still can win the game. It's different, right?
Hmm.
So I really enjoyed it. Sometimes I'm still missing playing ice hockey, like the bond we created with those guys over years and friends and teammates is unique. and the sport is fun. Like I said, CrossFit is literally just like every time you go to a competition, you know, oh shit, I'm gonna suffer for 2 or 3 days, or the game's like 5 days. So it's like ice hockey is a play sport. It's totally different. Of course, you suffer. It's a hard sport. It's really physical, but at the end, it's a game,
Hmm.
and I miss that sometimes. The game aspect,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
fun.
I'm interested
Like
in
when you
that. No, go ahead.
no, say.
I'm interested in the ACL injury. Whenever I hear knee injuries, I always perk up. I've had 3 myself, so I know the route. But you seem to have come through that, even though it didn't allow you to continue to be the athlete in hockey that you were prior. Has it been a factor at all in your CrossFit training? Or what I noticed is that as soon as I started introducing more lifts and speaking with Mike and Chad, that my knees got better. They got stronger. They were actually things that I wish that I would have done while I was an athlete competitively that now allowed me to feel even more confident in my knees than I was when I was a training athlete. Has CrossFit allowed you to feel more secure, or is that still something in the back of your head that's an issue for you?
I think the secureness is gone. By my doctor told me actually when I was still playing ice hockey, the sports doctor, he was like, "Hey, look, you're fine. You operated knee is actually stronger than your normal knee," and that
Mm-hmm.
changed a lot. I was like, "Oh, okay."
Mm-hmm.
So it was not that. It was more when I started a lot of lifting, a lot of squatting, that my knee sometimes got inflamed, stuff like this. But mostly not too much of that. And actually, funny that the 1.5 years knee injury I had now, the tendonitis problem there was actually on my other knee.
Yeah.
So it's actually interesting from that aspect. But yeah, it's yeah, yeah. I think it was heartbreaking back then, like when it happened. But you also, like I said, an injury is such a part of an athlete, and you need to learn to get through. Yeah, like it's rough, it's tough. Like I said, even the last year was probably even rougher because I thought this is it with CrossFit. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
I'm ever gonna make it back. Like always, when you're low, you ask yourself this question, right? Um, and you don't want to lose something what you still love to do. But I think it's a
Yep.
point where you grow.
Yep. Yeah, being an athlete can be lonely sometimes. You know, you have to be selfish.
Yeah, yeah,
It's a very lonely life, especially when you do a sport that's not a team sport. And, you know, CrossFit is individual for the most part. Gymnastics is individual for the most part, weightlifting as well. But when you're an injured athlete, it can feel even more lonely. It can feel really, really like there's nothing because no one from the outside can really do anything other than just give, you know, moral
no,
support. So going through an injury can be incredibly challenging, especially something as severe as a torn ACL. But what I learned over the years and what I've tried to express to people is that the injuries have always been able to be opportunities. And if you can view it from the perspective of an injury being an opportunity to grow in an area that you would normally neglect, it can actually turn into a net positive once that injury is over. You can either look at it as like, okay, shit, I can't compete or I can't do something or the season is over. Or you can look at it as, okay, what are the things that I would have neglected during this time anyway? And what are the things that I can become better at because of this injury, not in spite of it? And so
uh,
for me, the injuries were always terrible in the moment. And years later, I always said, I'm kind of grateful for the injury because I'm actually better because of it.
it's actually a funny story from 215 what you said. So after my knee injury, because I had a bit of disbalance. So I started lifting again heavier, but my knee was not ready yet or that ready. And then I got actually just when I started CrossFit, I was training for CrossFit in 215. I messed up my back with a how do you say uh, disc. So I messed up three
Mhm.
discs in my back. So I literally couldn't walk for like 2 or 3 weeks. I got injections. I got a bit better, but I was really afraid. And then, like you said, I was like, I still want to train. This is still my dream. So I put everything into gymnastics,
Yeah.
and I did. Yeah, you will hear it, like to hear it. And like I said, I just smashed it there. But I did crazy stuff. I remember this most brutal workout I did. It was actually funny because I was sad back then, and I remember my ex girlfriend when I was 22 or whatever finished with me. I was really low, and I was just training, and I decided to do this workout. So it's 100 to 10. So you do 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50 to 10 down of strict pull-ups, strict handstand push-ups, and strict dips.
Oh
So I
my
did
God.
How many weeks? How many
550
weeks
reps.
does that workout typically take?
It took me 2 hours and 8 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
That's
hilarious.
insane.
Oh my God, that's
And
awesome. I want to do that workout now.
I was like at 60, and I was like counting, and I was like, shit, what did I got myself into this? But I was like, I have to finish it, you know, like I look like weak if I stop now. And I said, this is
Wow.
gonna be an epic story in years if I'm gonna tell this to
Wait,
people.
did you
Yeah,
did you
but
come up with that workout yourself, or was that something that other
yeah.
people had done before?
No. I just told myself. Like I said, I was in the gym, and it was like Saturday or Sunday afternoon, and I was like sad because my back and everything was around, and I was like, shit, I need to put myself in a bad mental stuff. And I was like, let's do this. And I was like, well, let's see where this goes. And
Oh my
yeah,
God, I love it. So wait,
it's a
100
good
strict
story.
pull-ups, 100 down by 10s down to 10.
So you
So
do you do 100 strict pull-ups, 100 strict handstand push-ups, 100 dips, 90,
And
90,
90.
90, 80, 80, 80, 70,
I
70,
love it.
70, 60.
So that's
Yeah.
550 reps of each. Is that what it comes out to be?
Yes. Exactly.
So
Woo-wee.
Adrian, we do well, not we, Dave has been doing for our apparel partner Legends. We do these Legends workouts, and he always pulls one of Dave's friends or idols from the gymnastics community. That sounds like it might be
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
the Mundwiler Legends
Yeah.
workout that maybe Dave will be the only one that would be silly enough to try that.
Yeah. I don't recommend it at all. Like honestly, I don't recommend. But it was actually funny. I didn't felt too bad afterwards. Like it was more mental that it was really long. I think I did everywhere sets of fives.
Uh-huh.
But like I said, on the next day, because the intensity is not as high, right? Of course, you do it for 2 hours and 8 minutes, but the intensity was not too high. So I remember back then I was not feeling that bad. But just quick to finish this up, what I want to say is then when I started CrossFit or like when I started competing CrossFit 16 and 17, like I was a gymnastic ninja. Like I
Hmm.
knew that my lifting was not that up there yet, but as soon there was muscle ups or something up, I was smashing it. And like you
Hmm.
said, like you always find stuff to work on, right? And I'm someone who builds really quick strength. So it was actually funny that as well in 2016, before my first year in CrossFit, competing in the open regionals and games, from I was snatching in December, January, my max snatch was 110. Before semifinals or before regionals back then, I snatched 130. Like I can quick. I'm such a quick like strength. If you put me injury free 3 4 months on lifting, it doesn't even matter what exactly. Just I have to lift weights. It's gonna flow by a roof. So
And for our American listeners, goes from a 242 snatch to a 286 snatch in pounds. Some people
yeah,
were getting, I'm sure, listening like 110-pound snatch from.
yeah.
It's my PR right there.
Yeah, but no,
And then I
that's impressive to hear. But you also when we look at you like training and competing, to me you look like the athlete that it's like I put him on like a solid 4 to 6 week strength cycle, and you'll see very linear gains. Like
yeah.
you're built to be strong.
Exactly. It's just like for me at the moment, it's more like trying to have my body together for 4 to 6 months, weeks. So, like I said, like I said, I'm really looking forward for now the off season. Like I said, what makes the injury as well, or the past 2 years for me, is like this might be my last year next year. You know, like it's not planned. I'm 30 now, and I feel great, and I believe I have more in stock. But since you start thinking different if you have an injury like this, so it might be my last year, you know, and I put everything into this. So I quit this year Christmas. I'm not, like I said, this is my last competition, and then back home, and I want to start building for next year. And until semifinals, it's like 5 6 months. So I really hope there is a lot what can go on, and especially my lifting numbers. I have some numbers in my head I want to hit, um, and as long as I can keep my body together, it looks hopefully good.
Well,
I
I
want to.
saw. I was
Oh
sorry,
my.
Dave. I got this is love languages with strength and weightlifting. So, what was it about a year and a half ago? You hit a 227 back squat. So
Yes, that
500.
was two. Yes, and that was a good example. I squatted for literally 2 months, twice a week, and then I hit it pretty solid. Same, my
That I
front
was.
squat was 445. But yeah, I would love to see how far I can push my. I have a good squatting. How far I can
Mhm.
push my squatting and my snatch. Really,
Okay.
my snatch PR, I hit probably 3 4 times in my life 140. I would love to go closer to 145.
Yeah.
150 would be epic.
Yeah, that
But
would be very nice to see.
yes,
What
but
do
we will
you
see.
feel like just from like a strength or technical side, what do you feel like would be holding you back from hitting something over 140?
Like I said, depends. Like in the beginning, I was, for example, the snatch. My biggest problem was pulling from the floor. But as soon
Hmm.
I had the second pull, I was like it was up there. I always knew if I bring it with a certain speed to my hip, and my hip contact is so strong, and I'm so fast under the bar, I knew I'm gonna hit the lift. And the stand up
Hmm.
is never the problem for me either. So then I did a lot of pulls. Like I said, now it's hard to say. I think, like I said, I believe at the moment it's like I have to bring all my numbers up again, and then out and keep my body healthy. So like I said, I don't have like 2 weeks break, then again lifting, and then a week or like 2 weeks again because my back hurts or whatever. So or my knee. So I believe if I find a good thing for the next 5 months and I can do it every week and I have no breakouts, I believe I can do it. That's why I'm really optimistic and positive about it, because like even when I snatched 140, it was never like, oh, this is it, or it was like close that
Hmm.
I made it. It was always pretty simple. It was not like magic. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, I like
I'm excited.
I think you're reinforcing a lot of things that we, love and believe in at Power Monkey. So, one is consistency. So when you're able to put something in consistently and work on it for a couple of months, you can definitely see improvement. I think for a lot of the community that we have that would be listening, whether they're younger or the more seasoned athlete, hearing how reasonable you sound too, with knowing, okay, when I'm doing all of these competitions, I'm probably not going to see a lot of gains in
No.
some of the things that are more like strength based or skill specific. But if I look at it with the mentality of I'm gaining information for my next training cycles where I can put this in, I'm going to have a lot of data to feed from. And I was curious before we started talking how you manage that, because from the outsider looking in, it looks like, okay, he just competes all the time. He's great, and then he hits big lifts. So I guess that's what I should do. Like from somebody, maybe a younger athlete looking, and
Yeah,
now
no.
hearing more how intuitive I think you are, and how much you've learned from your background. I'm hoping that our listeners are also hearing like there's a lot of rhyme and reason to your system that you've developed over years with trial and error.
Yeah, but yeah, no, 100%. And like I said, you have to see what kind of athlete. Like it's a good example. Last year, I didn't squat, deadlift, lifted, like snatch, clean, nothing for literally a year because of my knee for 1 year. Then I did a competition because I was like, it was good prize money, and I was like, shit, I haven't competed. I was like, let's go. Worst case, there's one strength event. I won't do great, but I will survive because my CrossFit was pretty good because I was doing a lot of CrossFit. So I went there and the max snatch was up. And like I said, I haven't lifted for a year and I still hit 122.5, what is close to 270.
Yeah, like two. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, so it was like, I was like, it's not a great number when you're used to snatch 140, but I was like, for 1 year, not squatting, not deadlifting, I'm like, ah, it's not bad.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I take it. I take it. Yeah, totally. But yeah, it's like I said, like, and then we are the programming again, or what you say, what I like, for example, me personal, I know it's a big interesting in the weightlifting world, but I really like bands and they work really good for me. Like I literally put bands on everything and it works really
Mm.
well for me. That doesn't mean it works for everyone. Like I said, at the end, you always, and that's with all the CrossFit programmings out there. When people ask me what is the best programming, I don't believe it's the best programming. Like I believe Matt Fraser could have gone on every program and he would have still be the fittest on earth. What I believe it's more the people behind, how passionate about it are there, and
Mm.
how personal, or like I said, how is the coach behind there? How does he sees you as an athlete? Like, and that's more value I put in. So like I said,
Yeah.
I tried a lot of things out in my lifting career, in my CrossFit lifting career, and I found things what worked for me, and I really believe it. And like I said, I saw the results. So I do that, but I'm not saying this is the only way and this is what I believe and everyone should do that. So
Yeah, that's a good, really good point to make too. That I think a lot of people don't always understand. They're looking for that secret program, and
Yeah,
yeah, I tell a lot of people I work with that yeah, all the programs work depending on how you're implementing them. But when I was younger, I remember my coach would always say, "Doesn't matter what program I write for you, you have to believe in it." So if you
exactly.
believe in it, you'll do well. So yeah, I think it's always safe to go with trusted individuals. Like you said, you're always willing to listen and investigate and see what other people are doing, or take feedback from other coaches. But at the end of the day, depending on the type of athlete you are, you have to believe in either who's giving you the programming or what you're offering to yourself.
Yeah. And I think I'm 100% agree. And I think that's the hardest skill for a coach, to show your athlete that you believe in him.
Mm.
And how, like, not just saying I believe in you, like showing them and understanding that, and get as an athlete that feelings like this guy is, whatever happens, he stands behind me. I can get last place. I know this guy, this coach is still behind me.
Hmm.
And this is something like I got a bit more and more, because like I said, I want to, after my CrossFit career, I want to get into coaching, not just in particular in CrossFit, but I would like to be more like a strengths and performance coach. Like, of course, one part in CrossFit, but I would also like to coach other athletes from other sports, because it's just so interesting. Uh, and I think it's a big thing more to come. Like I said, in Switzerland, like as an example, because I know it, like back in the years, like I said, everyone had the same programming and we did all the same. But I believe, like I said, if you're 16 and you want to go one day, you want to play in the NHL in Canada, USA, you need to start with 14 probably already to do your own stuff. You need to work on your stuff, what you need to work on to make a difference, to be the best in your age group, right? So I think this is coming more and more, and I would love to get more and more into this and help these young people to actually get into that, because I think also young people are more interesting to coach than a 30-year-old professional athlete. Just like, it's, yeah, like I see it by myself. It's hard to change things with a 30-year-old athlete, or a
Yeah.
28 or 26 who's doing this since years. But a young one is just like, you can attack them differently, right? And they attack you, they see you differently as well. So yeah, but as I said, at the end, I believe the most thing what matters is the believeness between athlete and the coach.
Without a doubt,
Like you said.
it's a huge component to building a strong relationship, and I can see why you maybe moved to a location where you'd be able to work with that community and those people a little bit more in person. But we're coming towards the end, and I don't want to miss out on an opportunity to talk about your shoe game, because it's a big part of being a Power Monkey coach too, having a strong shoe game. And Nike's one of your sponsors. I'm seeing you wearing your Jordan brand right now, and you're the Metcon 8s that are yours, the ones I'm curious, a couple of reasons. They're one of the coolest colorways that I've seen. They're awesome.
Thank you.
They're really well put together. I'm a big fan of what you can purchase on the Nike website. But I'm curious how the process works. Is this something that Nike presents to you and just says, "Hey, what do you think of this? We'll slap your name on it." Do you have design input into what actually goes out there with your name on it?
So this year was the first year before the games, when before they released the Metcon 8, where we could make our own design, and then they sold it on the website, and we could make it on our own. The only thing back then, it was a little bit, we didn't have all the colors available we had now. That's why all the shoes look pretty similar.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually funny. And we actually didn't saw it because we did it on a call. So they were like, okay, we have this color, and you're like, try to imagine the thing on it. But and then, like I said, afterwards, like we still we can always make our own shoe afterwards. So the black pink one I wear at the moment, I saw that one as well. I actually copied as well from someone, and I love it. And I think, like I said, that's the amazing thing about Nike. First of all, you have, whatever you do, if it's running, trail running, weightlifting, like I said, functional fitness or CrossFit or whatever, you have the best shoe. Like the running shoe is the shoe what Kipchoge runs a sub 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what better shoe you? There's no better running shoe, right? Otherwise, Kipchoge probably would not run it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like weightlifting shoes, I don't know, but if you like a Nike weightlifting shoe is just unique. Like I have tested before, even I was a Nike athlete, different shoes, but it was just different. Uh, so that's amazing. And then as well, they ask us a lot about the feedback. I had 2 weeks ago, 1 week ago, the Europe team from Nike Training came to visit Mallorca, and they actually showed me the Metcon 9. Uh,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Hey, look, this is the new shoe." And I was like, "Oh, wow!" And they were like, "Put it on. Let us know what you like." And or like even before they showed me was like, "Okay, what of the 8 would you improve in a new shoe?" And I told them like I would improve this and this. And then they showed me the 9. It's like, look, here we go. We actually improved exactly what you said.
Wow.
So they really listen, and we did. I also went after the semifinals in Lowlands in Amsterdam. I went to the Europe HQ, and we had a sit down about products, what I like, why I like it, and it's really nice as an athlete as well that they listen to you. Then actually you see that they change the things as well.
Hmm.
And like I said, it's just a brand like Nike, what is so big and they have so much resources. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
actually crazy. It's yeah.
Yeah, I live about 15 minutes away from Nike headquarters, the world headquarters here in
Uh,
Portland area. So it's close to my heart. I go over there
I
quite often.
I one day I have to visit it. I told my friend uh, Nike Europe, I was like, one day we have to go together, and I really want to
Adrian,
see
I
that
think you can
because that
just go
must be
to
crazy.
you can go to Dave's house. You guys can hit that 100 down to 10 workout.
Oh
He's
yeah, the
got a
gym in my
really nice
house.
gymnastics home gym
Yeah,
with even some weights he put in for me when I
and then
visit, and then you guys can go get your
we
shoes
get
after.
we get a coffee at Nike
You got it.
afterwards.
You got it. My weights only go up to 160, excuse me, 145 pounds. So we will not be doing any weightlifting at the gym, but
It's
as
fine.
much gymnastic stuff you want to do. But yeah,
It's
those are
fine.
sweet shoes. I have a question about what's on the side of them. Most of the pair that I see, you have
Uh,
DBAP written on the side. What does that stand for?
it says, "Don't be a pussy."
Is
It's
that loosely translated from Swiss Deutsch or is that
no,
direct
no.
translation?
It's actually funny because even when every time I stand on a competition floor, when I started CrossFit, this is what I told myself. I was like, don't like because everyone is nervous, everyone is afraid, and I'm of course afraid as well. And I'm there, and it's just like at some point I'm just telling myself, don't be a pussy, just fucking go out for it, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Or like a good example when we had the semifinals, the online one in 2020, 21, and they announced Friendly Friend as a first workout, and I was so afraid because I knew it's gonna hurt so badly of this Friendly Friend, and I was just there, and I actually was like, shit. And 5 minutes before the workout, I actually took chalk and wrote on the wall, "Don't be a pussy." So every time I was doing thrusters, I could see it on the wall, right? So, like I said, it's more like something I always tell myself. I know it
Mm-hmm.
sounds funny, and people are always like, "What does it mean?" And like, well, this doesn't mean. But for me, it's every time what I tell myself, and it calms me down. I don't know why, but it's just like if I tell myself that, I know, okay, I'm here to do the job, and let's go
I
for
get
it.
it, man. I
And
get it. I used to wear a rubber band around my wrist throughout my entire competitive career. I used to get the rubber bands from Whole Foods, these little green rubber bands, and I would have like a whole bucket of them in my little apartment at the Olympic Training Center, and I would just write, "How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it?" Just
yeah,
around my wrist. And every competition, every training day, I had that rubber band on, and same thing, just a little mental refresher as to when that shit hits the fan and things are not going the way that you want them to, remember why you're doing it. Remember why
yeah.
you're doing it. Things can always get worse. You can push through this, and it's something that helps a reminder. So I love that. I love that.
And like I
There's
said,
some significance.
everyone at the start line feels the same, right?
Hmm.
Like, okay, for you it's a bit different because you go one after each other, right, in gymnastics. But I knew that wherever competition I am, everyone is stressed, everyone is nervous, everyone is gonna hurt. So, and that's what I'm saying. I use it as excuse. It's like, hey, just don't be a pussy because you're fine. Like everyone
Hmm.
else feels the same. It's good. It's fine. And yeah, yeah. But
Love it.
it's funny. Yeah.
Love it. One last Nike question. Outside of the Metcon 8s or the 9s, whichever ones you're wearing at the moment, do you have another favorite Nike shoe that you
I
would wear
love.
out?
I'm out. Yeah. Well, it's either Air Force, Jordan, or I even like the Air Max. They're really comfortable. But Air Force, I made this year. I made some light blue ones. Oh,
Mm.
I love these ones. And Jordans are pretty sick as well. Like you can't
Excellent.
have enough, right? So
Well, Adrian, anytime
yeah.
you want to come hang out in Portland, you got a gym and you got a trip to Nike waiting for you. So we'll take a little
Yes.
ride over.
And I hope I one day I make it to train Power Monkey
So Adrian, I was going
to a
to try to
camp.
jump leapfrog Dave there and claim you as the guy that would come be at the weightlifting sessions with me. So you know, we're always we're always happy when we can invite and host any competitors and people that especially we have on the podcast. But knowing now getting your personality to match with your movements, I would request that you spend a good amount of time with Chad and Vanessa and Cheryl and I over on the weightlifting stations,
It
and
would really cool.
you can do a mixture of training, but also you can start to sharpen your coaching sword with us as well.
Yeah, come hang, man. Come hang.
I always see stuff on Instagram or wherever on YouTube, and it looks really cool. And I was like I said, I like the idea what you guys do. Like the whatever you do, where you're coming from, you can come here and we do and we make you better, and then you go again and you do your thing again.
Yep.
Like I said, this is I really believe that. And maybe one day you guys should do a Power Monkey in Europe. It would be really, really cool as well.
We're actually in Europe quite often. Mike lives
really?
in Germany now. Mike lives in Germany in Hamburg.
Okay.
And we were out there a few weeks. You know, we don't do a full camp out there, but we do a bunch of different iterations. You know, weekend courses and our Crete retreat and things like that.
We were really close to getting a camp set up though at the old Olympic when they built the Olympic Stadium in Sevilla in the south of Spain. We have some really good contacts and friends, and we've done a lot in Spain in the past, and we've always been it's always on our agenda. It's just very difficult to you know, we have at camp, we have 30 plus coaches from, you know, all the disciplines, and we bring that's a big part of what we do, and we want to be able to do something similar. Probably what, Dave, 5 or 6 years ago we did almost like the mini equivalent of a camp in Brazil, and we took about 8 of our coaches down to Brazil for about 2 weeks and did some stuff in Sao Paulo. So it's not out of the equation. We're here often. We've got some events in Greece now that we do in the summer. So
well, it makes sense, because if you don't deliver the same quality, then it's not the same experience.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like,
exactly.
You cannot say we make a Power Monkey in Europe, but then you have like totally different people on it. It's like not the same.
We'll get you out to the one in Tennessee first, so you can see how it all runs. We'd love to have you. 2023, you know, we've talked about it on the podcast recently, but it's our 10-year anniversary for our camp. So we have the two, one in the fall and one in the spring. Spring one is April 30th to May 6th, which is kind of right around your middle of training season. But then our fall one, which is our 20th camp, will be September 24th to September 30th. So if fall works for your schedule, let's see if we can get it on for you. We'd love to have you out with us.
I think September is better. The other one is a bit stressed, close to regionals.
Understandable, man.
This year regionals is the most special probably we ever had in Europe, because I think we never had just one semi-final or one regional in Europe. So we finally get a European champion, and I'm pumped. This is going to be, I think, Berlin 218 was pretty crazy in Europe. Like everything was sold out in 3 days, and the stadium, like 8,000 people, was sold out. But we still had 2 regionals back then, whereas like now you have one, and all the people and so many upcoming good athletes in Europe. I think, this is going to be a show this year.
That's awesome. It was a good change. Good change. I think everybody in Europe is going to be excited
100%,
about that.
100%.
Well, good luck with the training. We're excited to watch you in the new season, and good luck this weekend in Milan. Before we get you out, we got a couple last quick questions for you. Is that cool?
Shoot. Give it to me.
What sport or discipline do you prefer, weightlifting or gymnastics?
Weightlifting.
Yes.
Sorry, Dave.
Even with
we're still climbing. No, we needed that, Adrian.
If you would have asked me 3-4 years ago, I would have probably said gymnastics, but now.
No,
fair enough.
Adrian, I respect that, because I tell everybody that, you know, gymnastics is the best accessory for weightlifting. So like they're both incredibly valuable.
It's the best accessory for everything. Okay. There you go.
It is true.
And plus, let's just mention that Mike didn't even say weightlifting when he was interviewed on this podcast. All right. Let's just remember that too. All right. Question number 2. Any guests that you think would be good for us on the podcast? someone you've come across that would be a good interview for us?
I don't know. I don't listen actually to that many CrossFit podcasts. I prefer to listen from other sports because it's a bit more get the aspect of other sports.
All right, somebody from another
But
sport then.
well, there's this sports scientist from triathlon, a Norwegian guy. I really enjoy to listen to him. He's called Olaf Alexander.
Okay.
He's crazy, and what he did with this, or what they did with the sport of triathlon, it's absolutely crazy. So I really like. It's a lot of science talk, but it's would be interesting to get him into like science into CrossFit talk. Would be interesting.
Excellent. All right, put
I
that
think
on the
that'd be
list,
a good
Jordan.
episode with you and Hinshaw, Dave. Not
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
I want to, I like to be there, but that would be
Yeah.
a good one.
I love it. Adrian, any books you've recently read? If you're not a big book reader, any TV shows or movies that have been interesting?
I love books. I love books. I just don't have much time, so that's why Audible is my thing.
Uh-huh.
At the moment, I actually started listening, or I'm halfway in now into 9 Rings or 11 Rings from what's his name, the Bulls coach, Phil
Yep.
Jackson, the Chicago Bulls coach. 11 Rings. One of my favorite books is The Relentless or Winning from Grover, from the conditioning coach of Jordan and all the guys. Tim S. Grover, crazy books. Yeah, that's what I was reading at the moment, mostly.
Awesome. Yeah, I've read 11 Rings before, Phil Jackson's book, and we'll definitely have to add the others onto our list, this never-ending list of great books that we got to read. So thank you for that, Adrian. Appreciate it.
I love his aspect. It's really interesting. Like I said, like he also mentioned, like I said, it's building a relationship with your athletes, but still respectful, and you can't be a friend, right? But you still need a relationship and care about each other. So really interesting aspects out there. So if you're into team sports or into coaching, I definitely recommend this book.
I love it. Mike, anything you want to finish up with?
No, I'm just Adrian, I'm pleasantly surprised, or not, maybe the surprise is the wrong word, pleasantly affirmed at how good of a dude you are.
Yeah.
Like yeah, surprised was the wrong word, but I always assume everybody that comes on is going to be nice. But you took it a couple levels deeper than what I was anticipating. So that's just, kudos to you and your general community that you're getting filled up by all the time.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Do you have anything coming up? Where can people find you?
Mostly on Instagram. Adrian Mundwiler. I got now into photography, so people are into photography. I have a second account, more as a fun account.
Oh, you just got Jordan perking up his ears a little bit. What's the account name?
Yes. It's more fun. I enjoy to be a little bit like, yeah, it's a bit a hobby now since a few months. It's Adrian M. So I'm not sure yet what I'm doing with it, but it's just for fun. But yeah, otherwise Instagram, that's mostly where you can find me.
Excellent.
Otherwise in Mallorca.
All right, we got to take a little trip out there. I know Mike's been there before, but we'll see if we can set something up that way and come meet you in person. But Adrian, good luck this weekend. Kick some ass. Don't be a pussy at the competition this weekend. And hopefully see you soon in 2023.
That's right.
For all the listeners out there, please.
Thank you for having me, guys.
You got it, buddy. Please be sure to head over to powermonkeyfitness.com for services and upcoming events. Check out our Instagram pages for regular teaching and technical content at Power Monkey Fitness, at Dave Durante, and at Mike Service. On behalf of Power Monkey Fitness, we're your hosts. I'm Dave Durante with my co-host Mike Service, and until next time, thank you all for listening.